to inventory that, and went on down to SEAL Team 4. Well, to back up and then to get there, I actually left on my own, me and Katara, to come down to the teams. Crystal had called me a few weeks later because we were kind of dating a bit, but I didn't know what she wanted to do with her life, and I really wasn't tripping about no woman. So I went to do a duty. Then she called me a couple weeks later. I hadn't even got the house yet. I went down there, checked in, still looking for housing. So maybe it's within a week. And then she called and said, hey man, I was thinking about coming down there. Is it cool if me and my son Anthony come? And I'm thinking, well, I already got a child. She got a child. Maybe she can help me with my situation. And she wanted to go to nursing school. She said, hey man, I found a nursing school down there that I can attend, but I gotta have a place to lay my head. I'm like, well, cool, then come on in. And it kind of worked out good that way. When you come this way, you know, I know we're gonna get into things. Either we're gonna get tighter if we're gonna be living together. So any loose ends you got, you might want to shut that down. You know what I mean? And I'll do the same on my end. It's talking about as far as other relationships and shit.
Right.
But I knew I was gonna be focused on my craft. So it made it where with her coming, it made it where I could do the 12 to 18 hour day, the same thing I've been doing, and have success. So when she came, yeah, you're gonna be a stay-at-home mom, so to speak, because really you're a student, but you got to do this too. But she was already good with cleanliness, and she took that, and that allowed me to pour into this everything that I could. And so catching back up, of course, we deployed with SEAL Team 4, went down range and got into a little trouble down there. Between September and Christmas, it was a flawless deployment. I mean, I'm operating guys in South America and in Africa and in Iraq, same time, comms, so your hours are long because different hours during days, you talking and coordinating logistics for a couple of hemispheres, a couple of combatant command AOs.
Okay.
Of course, I'm working with CENTCOM, but I'm also working in AFRICOM, and I'm also working with South America, you know, commanders as well, Southcom. So we doing everything we can for the operators to go for drug interdiction, for terrorists and all of this stuff, and they need stuff. And so that's where Kerry Baker came in. By December, the SEALs decided to have a party. And of course, a lot of drink was going on, Air Force, Army, Navy, but it was good to go. It was a righteous party, actually. But the next day, we got about 8 dumpsters around there, all filled with alcohol. And everybody knows that alcohol is general order number 1. You can't have sex nor drink out there.
Right.
But, with Delta and Team 6 and Tier 2 forces, but now it might be Tier 1, but the 75th Ranger Regiment, plus SEAL teams out of Little Creek, were kind of elite, so those rules didn't apply, or so we thought, until we had Mass Chief and some other guys from the teams go through, see all the dumpsters, and then they wanted to say, well, hey, Kerry, man, we heard rumors that the CBs, all of your CBs had a party last night over there at the dog kennel. Now, when I say dog kennel, don't think a dog cage. The kennel is huge. It's like a building, because we got air conditioning systems in there and everything like that, because we don't want to have these dogs hot. They have to remain cool. They go out on mission. They come back. We have them in that building because it's so hot in Iraq.
Right.
I said, no, it wasn't my CBs. We built the thing, but it wasn't our party to have. When we built it, we signed it over to your SEALs. So you got to ask your boys what the party was about. I mean, I knew what it was about because I was there, of course, leading the pack as the Black Messiah. But as I think about it, it was me as a lieutenant commander. It was a couple other lieutenant commanders, SEALs. We had some Deltas in there, and we had SEALs that came from the Fallujah, not Fallujah, but Fallujah area. And then they came over. The West Coast SEALs from Team 1 came over, and they partied with us. So they made it all the way from Fallujah to Baghdad area, and some coming from Kirkuk north and Mosul in the north coming south. That's how they must have coordinated on crypto comms amongst themselves to figure out, hey man, come on in, we throwing a real nice get together. Well, anyway, the the word got out, and it got all the way back to the regiment commander, which is, Colonel Clark, which is now Lieutenant General Clark. He was a full bird in charge of all of us, but he wasn't in our camp. He's just for the theater, for all the operators doing work for the president, which that's what Tier 1 forces do. They are commanded by JSOC. Well, anyway, when the captain calls me in, well, he was a commander at the time, and I'm lieutenant commander, and I'm the same rank as the executive officer that works under him. So the XO decided to say, Kerry, it was your boys in front of the captain, when the captain, which is a commander in the Navy, is saying, Kerry, what happened? We heard and XO says it was Kerry's guys, but I told the skipper, I was like, hey, listen, man, it wasn't my guys. I know that for a fact. I was around. He said, I heard you was there. You was the most senior person. I said, well, okay. It was a righteous party, Captain. I mean, righteous. He said, was it righteous while he's putting little ornaments on his little Christmas tree in his office, looking at me with the side eye, with the XO behind him, looking at me like, Kerry, I need your help. But he didn't want the XO to see the face. Yeah. I said, truth is, I was a senior person there. He said, if any Army Rangers are caught up in this investigation, then they'll have to relieve their Ranger tab, and that means I got to take the Budweisers off of the chest of my SEALs and send them back to the fleet. I said, well, that'd be a crying shame. So I didn't see no Rangers there. I just saw SEALs and other enlisted people. I didn't even see Air Force in there. No combat controllers were there. No builders for the Air Force were there. Not that I remember. I don't know all the faces, but I know our faces, and I didn't see none of them. I said, I'm very surprised, though, that you don't know that there was a party, because the whole JOC, the information center, Joint Operations Center, with all the big screens on the walls and computer desks everywhere, I said it was completely empty because everybody was at the party. I know because we have a J4 desk in there, and I went in there and it was empty. So I'm surprised you didn't notice that there's nobody in your camp. We're supposed to be doing operations.
Right.
So he says, yeah, I didn't notice that. I said, well, yeah. He said, well, I'm glad I got a man on the inside. I'm going to make you the lead investigator for this tribunal. I want you to go and investigate it, and you have anyone you need at your disposal. I said, yeah, not a problem. He said, but, if any Rangers are called up on this, tabs will be removed, and then I have to take action against some SEALs. So I left there. Of course, I got this little sissified XO that probably ain't never pulled the trigger on nobody, but yet he a SEAL. He looking at me like, yeah, we got you now. I go and see the senior chiefs and the chiefs of the SEALs, and of course my CB chiefs. And I let them know in a roundabout way, we're gonna do the investigation. I'm gonna bring to bear y'all senior enlisted brothers, and I want y'all to know now, we cannot name any Rangers. I said, it was implied. And it wasn't specified, but it was implied. And our duty is to try to make sure that we follow that, whether applied or implied. So they say, okay, cool. They come back with a list of names. These are the guys that were there drinking. They want to be held to account. I don't know these guys. They SEALs, but none of my CBs, man. It was your shit. You fall on your sword. So they came back. It was like 20 names. The investigation goes through. It looks good. The skipper says it looks good. They bringing them all in one by one, giving them reduction in rank from E6 to E5. Because most special operators are E5 and above. So, and one chief that want to get busted back down to E6. So we had to bring in the admiral for that, which that's coming. So, at the end, the captain calls me back. He said, man, job well done. I'm going to have to give you a letter of reprimand. But if you don't get in no trouble in 6 months, we'll have it where it's pulled from the record so you can make commander later on if you choose to stay in the Navy that long. I said, ain't not a problem. He said, but where you messed up is about 8 of your guys in that list, they don't even drink, Kerry. I'm like, well, I don't know about all that, but they were there. They claimed on the paperwork they drink. They said, yeah, but we know our SEALs. Some of these guys are God-fearing Christian, Mormon type guys. They don't even drink. I said, but they can kill people, but they can't drink. I said, well, that's some wild Christian stuff, but okay, I'm with you. Yeah. So he said, that's the only problem. But when we ask them, they claim, yeah, it was me. So I go later, ask some of the operators, man, why y'all say you drink if you wasn't? You fucking up my flow. They said, listen, man, I want to keep killing, and the higher in rank you go, the less killing you get to do. And now I'm in a position where I can re-enlist, get another bonus. I can tax free over here, all kind of stuff. So they had their reasons, but most of it was trigger time. We leave there, not a problem. Admiral McCraven comes in, the same admiral you've seen on videos saying the first thing you need to do when you wake up in the morning is make your bed and stuff like that. He's a Navy SEAL, and the 4-star was our boss, JSOC. So he's in charge of all the operators in JSOC because it's Joint Operation Command. So he's in charge of SOCOM, he's in charge of the Deltas, he's in charge of anything, combat controls, all of them flow up to JSOC. He's their boss at the highest level when you do tier 1 mission. So he came through, and me and Travis, which was my commander, my captain at the time, me and him are with Admiral McCraven, and he said, before we go out here and talk to the crew, some things happened around here. We had a party, and you know, the Army guys are making it hard where JAG is coming in and stuff. And it was beautiful the way McCraven did that. He said, listen, I'm going to give the Defense Meritorious to Kerry and some of the other guys for the work you guys did around here, capture kills, great deployment. You're doing work for the president. He said, but Travis, as far as that party, and he was looking at all 5 of us that was in his company at the time. He said, I got problems of my own, man. Deal with it. And I like that about real men, true grit. He's like, hey, you got it. Don't worry about it. Because I ain't going to be worried about that. I got these over here. You got it over here. Admiral Craven flew out with his earpiece because he's got security around him like Trump. They take off, and the rest of the deployment was flawless. Ended up leaving the teams after we got back to Little Creek. The captains in the Navy, they wanted me to head off, of course. What they've been telling me, I had to pay my penance. I only went to SEAL teams to cover down on a promise made by another captain to give this warfare group a good logistics expeditionary guy. I did that. Those folks said, okay, we're going to send you to War College. So you got to pick your War College. I said, well, since I've been downrange on the expeditionary side, Joint is Army. All the terms are in Army lingo, everything else, I'd rather go to Army War College, at least the Leavenworth for majors and lieutenant colonel kind of level. Okay. So I went to Fort Leavenworth, to War College there.
Fort Lost in the Woods.
Yeah, and then Crystal, she came with me. Of course, we got married in Norfolk, Virginia prior to that, and then of course Caden comes on the scene, and then we all head to Kansas. Get out there, and then you get a master's in military science. But I opted to go after hours to go to University of Kansas. Okay. To graduate in business, but it was supply chain management because that's kind of like one of our areas, like contract and supply chain management, because it all goes with expeditionary for what I was doing. So I went to that university at night. So now I'm going from 7 a.m. to 3:30 every day at one college, the War College, then leave, and then I have to deal with University of Kansas until 9 at night. So that was tough. And Crystal was taking her exams for her registered nursing, and it was tough times, but not so tough. But I'm sure it's stressful for her because she's dealing with Caden, Katara, Anthony. And Caden's little. Then, of course, Mira has come on board. So now she got the 2 at the same time, 2 little ones and then 2 big ones, which Katara and Anthony helped out a lot with that. Plus, you got all the baseball, all the football, all the different sports that people are playing. I graduated from War College, and they sent me to NORDCOM and NORAD. So I head out to Colorado. We bought a place out there about an hour from the base. Katara could enjoy her horses as she always wanted, so we ended up with 2 horses, a quarter horse and a paint horse, and all the tack that goes along with that, the 4-wheeling, the trucks, the gun range on the land, because like 40 acres of ours plus additional 40 from the guy who had a plot, but there was no fence in between. So there's a lot of dirtback riding and good stuff for the kids. But I get to NORAD, NORTHCOM. Then of course I'm a planner, a logistics planner. So for warfare in our hemisphere. So you got to go through, get plans off the shelves, revamp those plans, see what the centers of gravity is for your enemy. What can you do to thwart some of their plans while at the same time doing yours? Enemies change, but all the times we exercise the plans against China, Korea, Russia. We never won during the war game because it was just a issue with, again, manufacturing, because the United States had taken the manufacturing base and moved it out to the foreign countries that I just named. And so therefore, if you get in a war, the people that supplies you with your gunpowder is China, because you don't do it anymore. You got all this green initiative shit going on or whatever they had going on. But we ended up leaving NORTHCOM and then heading out to Sixth Fleet. I ended up getting pushed to Naples, Italy.
Okay.
And then I was the officer in charge of Naples, Italy, which is in charge of Gaeta, Rome, and the like. And so I've got, and of course NATO's headquarters, I got a component in there. So I had like 5 or 6 different sites in the middle of Italy, all the way down to southern Italy. And so that was really a tough tour, because now you're dealing with, you come from soft, you come from high level, and then you come back to where people are complaining about the mail. My box was wet, whatever. Okay. That was a successful tour there. I ended up putting on commander at that time while in Naples, going from lieutenant commander to commander, and making sure that every ticket had been punched all the way up to 2-star admiral. Okay. So just in case they wanted to select a full bird, they'd have the opportunity. But I think I wasn't having as much fun with it, because you just in one location watching everybody else deploy and everybody else dealing with real world stuff, not just someone back supplying somebody with something and then taking their metrics and putting it down and saying, hey boss, look what I did this month. Look. To me, that was cheesy. Yeah. No, I didn't do nothing. All I did was take a requisition and fill it. But you have to make it look like you walk on water, like you Jesus, when you write your reports. But that to me is almost tantamount to lying. Even though you're not lying, it couldn't have got done without you, but still it was small to me. But taking care of the people was big time for me. Now we leave Italy, and I'm thinking I'm probably only going to do one more tour and I'm going to get out the Navy.
This is at how many years at this point when you leaving Italy?
Man, so that was in 2017. So that was around what, 20, 25 years, something like that. No, more than that. From 88 to that point, 20 years in, more than that, 22 years in the military. So I thought, well, I'm gonna get up out of this and move on to do something different. But they said, okay, well, we want you to, if you're gonna stay, and I put in there, I'd like to stay overseas if I could, just see a little bit more. And they said, okay, we'll send you to SHAPE. And I thought, man, Supreme Allied Commanders headquarters. All right, I'll take it. They said, oh, it's a tough job. Every time they say it's a tough job, it's never tough. The tough jobs are jobs that they made like, hey, anybody can do, but not everybody can do them. So I go up there, and now I'm in charge of the NATO budget for SHAPE, for the Allied commander, not for the headquarters of NATO, but the guy who's in charge of all 900,000 forces in Europe.
Okay. This Netherlands?
That was in Belgium.
Belgium, okay.
Yeah, because the Brussels headquarters is in NATO headquarters is in Brussels. NATO headquarters in Brussels, and NATO's supreme commander in charge of the forces is in a place called Mons, Castile area of Belgium. And so there you have a 4-star who is EUCOM and Supreme Allied Commander. He's a dual-hatted position. because he got to be in charge of all the forces in Europe. So UCOM is the NATO commander.
Okay.
It might not seem like it, but he's sitting in two seats. So just like if you take JFC Naples, Sixth Fleet, the 4-star of Sixth Fleet is in charge of the Naples. There's Americans at each level on these.
Level.
Yeah, for NATO. Because according to our Constitution, we cannot serve another nation, another flag. So our guys are in those slots. And I go there, and the budget for him was only 1.4 million, and so I get it when, say, the president says other nations aren't paying their fair share. We do that job. I was ranked number 1 all 3 years out of all commanders in the U.S. up in there.
Nice.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. When you handle people money, they know who you are real quick. It ain't what you know, it's who you know. So we end up leaving there, and the chief of staff that was like, Kerry, you retiring here? I'm like, yeah, I'm retiring here. But he's like, well, he's Navy. Just happened to be. It could have been Army, it could have been anybody, but it's a joint deal. So chief of staff was Navy, and he was like, hey, what can we do to get you to stay? I said, man, the same rules apply. If I can get something in Europe, I'll hang out. But I'm thinking they ain't never gonna find nothing in Europe. I'm heading out there. So I had to put my paperwork in to remove my name from selection as full bird, because when we talked to the detailers prior to, they claim, well, if we select you, man, you going straight to the Pentagon. And I'm like, well, why come I don't get a choice? I don't get the 3 choices. They're like, no, you get what we give you. Because all the bad jobs, none of the senior guys who made captain before you gonna make full bird captain gonna want that. So you gotta go and pour some coffee, Motisa. I was like, oh. I said, well, I ain't doing that. I looked at houses around DC to look, okay, Royale and all this, driving to the sea. It's always 2 hours of wasted time, or 3 depending on traffic, or train. And I said, man, I can't do no DC. I ain't gonna do no DC. Especially, I've been telling Crystal that I'm tired. And I really was. And it was getting to the point to where my memory wasn't good. I have to write everything down now. When coming up, I never had to write. You could just tell me, and it was like muscle memory almost, so easy. I can remember every detail what I need to do. But now I'm writing, and I'm having from so much stress and other things from my rack, I'm having difficulty focusing on what you said. It got to the point I couldn't even remember names. Like I told you, the old admiral said, hey, how's Tara and how's the little one? He knew the first wife's name.
Right.
But I couldn't even do that no more. So I said, something ain't right. Where I shake a hand, they told me their name, I told them mine, but I can't remember them 5 minutes later. So I told her it's time to go. But then the detailer came to me and said, oh man, you getting ready to go? Hey man, I got something for you. I'm like, shoot, man, here you go. You got Texas? He was like, no. I'm gonna send you to JFC North. I'm like, man, JFC North? You talking like Northcom's JFC North? Where we in charge of Mexican drug force interdiction or something? He's like, no, I ain't talking not Northcom JFC North, like United States JFC North, the Joint Task Force in charge of the American soil. I'm talking about JFC North in Brunson. I said, you talking about JFC Brunson? That's what we call it. A NATO command? He's like, yeah. I said, 2 back-to-back NATO commands? Is this even possible? He said, I'm trying to send you there now. I said, cool, I'll take it. He put my name in the hat. I got selected, and then we went to the Netherlands.
That's great.
And then at the Netherlands, that's when it was one of those things where, based on your performance, they try to say, well, we want to give you the rank it outright. I said, but you can rank it outright, but you're ranking me against people who really want to stay, and I'm telling you I'm leaving. You can just put me last every time. I had to go talk to the 2-star Army general about that, because he's the one that signs commander and above's evaluation. And he was like, with all my Navy guys, I don't really know them other ones. I know you. I know maybe some in Intel. And every time I come through, you friendly, you got a smile, you willing to help, you motivated, you in all the planning, you flying and going to different places, doing war games. I'm there, and I see you there, so I know. I said, yeah, that's right, Skipper. But the bottom line, General Boyd, I'm leaving this thing. Help somebody, because they'll perform. They still got it in their craw that they want to do a job for the nation. And me, I'm trying to stop this train. So I ended up dropping retirement orders and then a letter, because you got to write a letter and they got to let you go on a commission. So I wrote my letter. They said, okay, we'll go on and get you out of here. What date you pick? I said, well, I'm supposed to be done in July, but I want November 1st of the same year. So they said, okay, November 1st it is. And I did a good job at JFC Brunson, which is NATO. And that was the final tour for me. And that ended in October 31st. October 31st at midnight, I was officially out of Navy and I belonged on the VA.
2024, no.
2023.
2023, yeah.
And that was the culmination of 35 years of service. So why would somebody stay 35 years? Man, don't ask me. It just, when you get tired, as some old chiefs that raised me on the first ship, when you get tired or you feel like you're not having fun, then it's time to go. And so it was beyond that time, but I still stayed and did a bang up job for this country until it was time for me to let it go. And at first I thought it was gonna be difficult, and it was, because you're so used to getting up at 5, 6, staying busy. But it's just a churn that I felt like it was stressful. Why should I get up stressing about something I don't got nothing to do with? This house, Crystal has been running it for years, 15, 16 years. I can't just come in here and then start trying to act like I'm running something around here. So I need to just shut up and color. And that's what I did. And she been taking care of business. Means she ain't retired, not in here.
Right.
You have to turn it off. So in her, she's getting up every day, cleaning, cooking, doing her thing. It got purpose, and you got kids behind that. But my purpose is just, hey, whatever little bit you got, I'll do. And that's it. I don't have no stress. I go walk, I eat right, and I do my thing. And that was the end of it. And of course, we asked the Kingdom of Belgium if we could remain in Belgium or move to Belgium, because we were in the Netherlands.
Right.
Move to Belgium on a retirement visa, and they said, yeah, as long as you have your own money, you're not a burden to the state, then you're welcome here. Have your own medical, because we don't want to do nothing like you see the folks doing asylum and all of that. They get free money, free rent, free phones, food stamps, all that stuff. But Belgium is just saying, yeah, you can stay, man, because you did it the right way. But since you asking, this is our requirement.
Right.
You can stay, but you bring your own cash. And then them kids and stuff you got, you have to have a certain amount of cash to cover them. And if you can prove that you have at least, $2,800 or something like that a month covering you and the kids, you can show us your bank statement, show us your pensions certificate, then you welcome.
Good.
And so we just applied for our second year here, got approved for that, because you got to do it every year until 5 years, then you're permanent resident.
Okay.
So that's the journey, and that's where you got me now.
I'll ask you this then. On that journey, that long and great journey, I will say, what do you think was like the hardest, maybe like, I don't want to say the lowest point, but like the toughest point for you through your military career? Would you think it was when you kept having to go up to, what do they call it? Captain Mass, having to deal with that? Do you think it was a certain job? Do you think a combination of stuff when having the kid and trying to go to school? And I mean, there's a lot of different points that you could call the toughest point, but what do you feel in your mind was like one of the really tough points of your career?
It's about 3 of them. When I was as you say, the times I kept getting like the Article 15s, kept getting the Captain's Mass, it was something that drove me to almost want to quit the public service realm. And then the only way in my mind that I could justify it is they trying to get me, meaning white folks. I would go to the mosque 19, number 19 in Oakland, and get that word and stuff like that. But they didn't push me there. But when they say, hey, the white folk is the devil, I thought, yeah, that explains everything. But I never took into account my responsibility and
Role.
accountability of it.
Mm-hmm.
That was the only thing. And so those were dark days when I kept getting my stripes taken, because instead of having self accountability and blaming myself for getting caught or doing the act itself, I would try to push it off on they trying to get me. They trying to look for me. I mean, it was so much so that it wasn't just the Navy I was in trouble with. I was in trouble with law out in town. And at some point, hey man, they for me having different cars and paying right now you're a drug dealer, you this and that, and I thought like, man, I should just go back to Texas, you know. And it took some people to retool my thinking and say, hey man, you need to go and do this. Whatever happened yesterday is yesterday's business. I mean, so much so that I called Earl. I had to call him because I was wondering, like, how did he put up with this all the way to Master Sergeant in the Air Force? And all I'm trying to do is make it to Navy Chief. And I don't see how Earl could have did it. It had to be 10 times worse for him. They lay in traps for you. I mean, it's a lot of things that they do, and you just be like, man, this ain't even worth it. I called him, told him I was getting out. He was like, hey, man, before you do that, you get out and go back home, you might want to just get out. I mean, you might want to just take a little vacation and go home. And then stay there for about 2 weeks and then see if you still feel the same. So, of course, I take that advice. I go home on leave and hang out. People talking about the same thing. People doing the same thing. Nothing's different. It's like you was a bum before high school was finished. You still a bum, and this person sleeping with that person. And it's just all gossip. It was nothing positive. I called him. I let him know, no, man, I'm heading on back on out to California IA, man. I'm going to catch up with the ship, and then I'm going to go on and check out and take me some orders somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then that's what I did, and that's how I stayed. And that was the darkest days in there. But that was just with me feeling like somebody's out to get me. But once I passed that phase in the life, then the two things that changed my whole mind and made it dark mentally is going through war college. But prior to war college, there's another seed that was planted by Afghans when I was in Afghanistan. I was a true believer in the system. I never voted for any president. I figured whoever the commander-in-chief is, the national policy is geared toward our way of life. Our way of life means you got to put some boot to ass to go out there and do some things to keep us safe. And I was only about the safety at that time. And I go to Afghanistan, and I'm talking to one of the Afghans there with the interpreter with me, because we have to go out in town to give the money. To give the money, and also Iraq, I got experience with that. When you give the money to somebody who's been killed, they only had it where you could give them $50 US. No, $2,000 US. And if you had them in a detention center where you interrogating them for a month or whatever, you give them $50 and let them go. In both Iraq and Afghanistan, when the perpetrators, we take them to the gate. Of course, you was soft at the time. You take them to the gate, and at the gate, they start to cry. We talking about grown men, and then you thinking they crying for happiness, that, man, thank God at last, I'm free at last type crying. No, that ain't it. The interpreter would ask people in Iraq, and of course, ultimately this story bleeds into Afghanistan, is when you take them to the gate, and then they be talking, and you be like, what do he say? He says, where is he at? I'm like, what do you mean, where is he at? This is his country. He don't know where he at. And when they tell him where they at, the guy would still not know, because even though he's from this country, they don't do like we do in America, seem like just travel and do all that. So he's never been to this location, whether it be Baghdad, Balad, Kirkuk, wherever.
Right.
He never been there. So then he's saying, all I have is $50, which I gotta get transferred over to dinar and then make it back home. He's like, I can never get home with this money. And on top of that, they tell you, well, if I'm innocent and you've had me this long, I missed out on crop season or the job I had, I have to feed my family. What about a little money to help us eat? I got to get home on this, but then I get home, I don't have money. And it breaks your heart because you're like, damn, even though this dude looks to me to be a criminal, he's clear that he ain't a criminal because he's out here and the judge let him go. So he's right. If you holding me, why come you don't give me compensation and a decent travel budget where I can eat while I'm trying to get there?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of blew that off, but it bothered me. But when I got to Afghanistan, it you know, at a later time, it kind of bothered me a little bit because I had came home with Team 4, but then I took off and went to Afghanistan underneath a CENTCOM request for forces. So I go out there. And at this time, I'm a fuels officer. I know it sounds crazy how you go from doing expeditionary, but fuels is in kind of lockstep with the expeditionary people. So I'm a fuels officer now. But yeah, but they say they need somebody to do some J5, some planning work. I know about planning. I head out there and do it. But when we're planning and we're talking to them out there in Afghanistan about these things, again, an interpreter is with you. And I asked the Afghanistan guys, you know, because they got bombings every day. Some checkpoint is getting bombed. Some part of town ain't got no military.
Right.
Our job there was to train the police force. So I'm at the range every day. You got females using AKs. They putting females in their force, police force. But when you're talking to the policemen, the candidates going through our little police academy, like, are you happy we here? And then they tell you no. And you ain't, but why? They let you know, at least they let me know, that we, meaning America, is a problem. And remember, I'm a true believer. I never thought America was a problem at any time. No matter how much death and pain we caused anywhere, I never thought that until talking to them. They say, well, you from where? I said Texas. Because again, I never say United States because I'm from the Republic of fucking Texas. So we get into that. He says, well, in Texas, what if two people are fighting in your garden? Because they don't call them yards. The rest of the world call them gardens or whatever. I said, well, I would remove them. What if they're using weapons? I said, well, I got my own. So we all get to shoot them, but they're going to leave my property. He said, well, the two strangers fighting in my yard are United States and the Taliban. But Afghans are dying. Y'all are in here fighting on somebody else's soil amongst each other and have been for years. And for you, it's probably French, Russian, all this. He's saying, y'all are causing pain for my children, my women, all of these. And I thought, like, man, that's tough. That was a tough pill to swallow, to think that I'm here to help you, but you saying you ain't helping me. So I leave there, and when we get to War College, that was icing on the cake as to the hardest time, because now you have to believe in what you're doing to make this life or the path worth fighting for, worth doing something in. And this was the hardest thing, to sit in War College and hear why we go where we go.
Yeah. And
to learn that we only go and wage war or police in action on the rationale of resources. So you telling me, I've learned in Boy Scouts that we are supposed to protect the weak, always be prepared, but you saying it's not about democracy and freedom, it's really about resources. And the word democracy just means we're gonna bomb you. And we go in with that first and claim that you're a tyrant, so we gotta come and stop that. But we go nowhere unless there's money to be made. And to be taught that we are here for the corporate masters because you want cheap $2 a gallon gasoline for your Harley, for your jet ski, for your boat, for your cars. You want to have cheap material, and really not cheap material, but to pay less for it. You have to have a nation that'll do it, and you basically getting a cheap product from them, selling in America, and you doing good. That just hurt. And back then, you get a briefing from the Joint Chief of Staff, the head guy in DC. And at that time, we had an Army general come down, and he was explaining that America probably wouldn't be around too long. And if America falls, there won't be any military because you are a paid force, and the taxes of the rich are paying that. But people always say that, oh, rich don't pay their fair share. No, actually, they paying a lot more. But you don't see it because you're just looking at it as, well, they didn't pay anything on taxes. I don't see how the story got confused, but the dude put it down in the right way for a class of planners and future generals and admirals. He let us know that when America is in a position where she's about to fall and nothing lasts forever. He went through the history of Rome. He went through the history of other nations that have fallen. And he was just letting them know the corporations have already put out contracts for swords for hire. And swords for hire is just like people like XC, back then, Blackwater, other, military contractors
Yeah.
to provide security for the assets in different parts of the world, because we at some point will be unable to do it. And so then you really see the big picture. And it was a bitter taste that I didn't like to taste, because I came here to defend the United States. I didn't come here to defend the corporate masters' assets or to go and wage war on indigenous people for the resources that's under their ground. And when you get told that, yes, it's like a kick in the gut, especially for some of us country boys below the Mason-Dixon line who thought we were here for defense of the nation, and we go out here and take down some evildoers that might, cause problems. So then you start seeing the pictures different. You start learning that what are they trying to tell me when you watch news? Because you're being taught that in war college for PSYOP, how to know that you're being psychologically operated on by media and everything. Because you got to ask yourself, what are they really trying to say? Not just listening to what they say, and how's it benefit something over here, And so that is what caused, and it wasn't a physical. All we talking about is the tough times, because it's all in here.
Right.
It's never something like a physical thing. It's all in here. So those are the three moments in the life, and that I got to see my position and what I was doing as different, and it might not be honorable. Because every success I have, someone somewhere is hurt by what I do. Women, children, nation state, something. But it's my flag, right or wrong. It's my flag, and so I follow it. But I gotta remove myself from it, because if I don't believe in what I'm doing, I can't be here. And that's how the retirement, and then putting in the letter to remove my name from possible selection as a full bird captain. Because my record was clearly as good, if not better, than many of the people who had moved on. Some of them I know. I don't hate it. I'm just like, man, I'm glad that, you have something in you, that you didn't witness something that made you change it up. And you still, because you have to be a true believer. You have to, I think.
You have to be passionate.
Yeah. Or it takes the fire out of it. And then you'll be sitting up doing things that you really are against. And so I just said, hey, man, I'm all about live and let live, and that's where I'm going to be. And however it go down after me, that's how I go down. I mean, I wish everybody the best. Those that move up in rank, those that get a visit from us and they hear the word democracy.
Right.
Hey,
and that probably also help to make it easier for you to say, I know you want to keep me around. I know y'all want to promote me, but I'm good. I'm out.
Yeah.
I've done the time, and I don't feel it the same way at this point anyway.
Yeah. And you got to speak to that too, because of course, black men, even though it's not the Army, in the Navy, we got plenty of sisters and brothers who are up there, and you can best believe they're gonna call you, and they're gonna be like, "Kerry, man, what we doing, man? It don't even sound like you. It sound like your wife talking. What we doing? Why you leaving?" They're sitting there looking at the record. It makes no sense. Is it something that we can do? Somewhere you'd like to go? And they are shocked when you say what I just said to you. And they be like, yeah, we understand.
Now. Yeah. Obviously, it wasn't. There was some really great times and highlights. So, what do you think was one of the heights of your career? Was it making it to officer? Was it? I'm just talking about military. I ain't talking about like the birth of your kids and stuff like that. I'm like the height of your career, your life, even before the military. If there's something that you say that was like something that really not just made me, but I really look back at, like, I'm very proud of myself at that. That was one of the proudest moments of my life.
I wouldn't necessarily say it was the officer piece. The highlight to me was the enlisted side.
Okay.
Because the reason I say that is because the competition was vast. I mean, officers, it's like a 3% community. The enlisted community is large, and you have to be competitive, man. I thought it was like that on the officer side, but the enlisted side, I didn't really realize how competitive I was. I mean, you know it because you're talking noise. Always got to have bragging rights. But you go from going hard every day, and then for 9 years going hard, they never gave me anything. Only thing I got along the way is one good conduct medal, because you gotta be free of captain mass for at least, I want to say, 3 years, and they give you one. So of course I got one. At the end, the good conduct medal was, because trust, I had to earn that. I had to not give it up. And then my first Navy Achievement Medal, that would be like Air Force Achievement Medal. I got the first one at the 9-year mark, man. And I think all of the great things I did, flawless, it wasn't even close to what you wrote over here for this little deed. But that was the highlight, man. Waking up every day, going to that ship, or having an apartment. I used to live in East Oakland back in that day. And I would drive every day, go to work, and I would stay at work. I mean, wouldn't even go home for a week. That was to me the highlight of it. Getting the ship out to sea and looking at a blue you've never seen before. That was impressive to me. Now, later years, I would say the highlight of it was Italy. The amount of people the local nationals that I could help go from UA4, which is a grade. They go from 2 all the way up to a different level, but 4. But it goes in a reverse order. So if you're a UA6, you low, but you go all the way to UA1, then you switch over to Kwanda or something, a Q, and then on. But to get people on their side, as well as my sailors and Marines, everybody gonna get paid. And you talking about the pushback from the headquarters about, well, these people, you trying to give them change job descriptions and make the job descriptions read this so they can get that. Hey man, listen, they've been rocking with us for like 15, 20 years, and you talking about one more step up is like $50 a month. You really arguing that point for the work they doing? The crisis here and there. I mean, these people are helping us put in virtual magazines up in Romania and all of this stuff in the ground so you can fight against Russia if you choose to. They doing all of this stuff, and they doing it from this location. But I'm sending crews out to that location because we're in charge of all of the customs. So the material you bringing into the country to move on or bringing into Europe, they're the ones that are sitting up there stamping and brokering and moving and doing stuff and going out there to make sure you get to the next border and crossing and make sure, because they got to go with the material.
Right.
I think it's worth that.
And you mentioned that earlier about how, Italy was great. Naples was great because of the people.
That's
not so much just because of the location.
That's right.
But the people. And so, that's good that you spoke on that. So you were helping out not just the American forces, but the Italian forces with them being able to be recognized, obviously.
Recognized.
And come up as far as rank and all that.
That you giving somebody an extra, $2,000 a year on their retirement or something when they finally retire after 30 years. What does it cost?
Yeah.
When your nation is getting so much. So those are the moments that shine to me the most. But in any of those moments, it's all dealing with people.
Yep.
It's all making sure everyone is successful at what they do, or if they got dreams that don't have nothing to do with you, you help facilitate. Okay, well, let me make a call over here to so-and-so, and we'll get you over there, get you trained up, so now you'll be signed off to be able to be in position for this right here. So those things, it was all about the people to me all the way through. So I guess that's it. The highlight is just taking care of others. And it's only because you grew up, your roots are in people from your humble town taking care of you. Then you get in the Navy, cats taking care of you. So it's in you. So you're in the service of others, not the service of self. So that to me is what I came for. I'm talking about through the womb of May Baker. That's what I came for. is to help people if I can do something. But if if I can't do it, then be honest and just say, hey man, ain't nothing I can do on that. But I don't promise you something that I can't deliver. And if we both go through the process, you can see that dang, he really tried, but it just didn't work out. But at least you can never walk away and say, hey, it's no one in the life helps. No, we are all where we are because someone else helped.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true on that.
Yeah.
Last thing I'll ask you is what's something about you that maybe no one really knows, or would someone would think it was very interesting to know about you that not many people even know?
Wow.
I mean, you're pretty much an open book.
Yeah.
You speak your mind.
Yeah.
You don't hold back.
Yeah. Well, I think the what they might not know is the grounding. Because people say, "Oh man, you're grounded," but the grounding actually came from the church. But people, since a lot of people don't go to church now and do a lot with that, because now it has changed. It's almost like a fashion show, and after you come from the club, you go to church, and they don't seem to stand on business and principles that you were taught from the old school Bible folks that commune back in the day, like with my mother. So that they don't know. I'm grounded because of that. The other thing they don't know is I have I can get violent, like fast. Like some people have to be mad at somebody to fight them. Now I ain't got to be mad at you. I just look at it like we playing basketball. Sometimes when you play, you get hurt, and that's an understanding. So I have a quick temper. A lot of people don't get to see it, but I control it now. But then the days when the man was taking my money, I didn't have no control over it.
Yeah.
But it threw people off because you seem like you too well grounded and too nice and respectable that you wouldn't do these actions. And that's why I think it's got to be some mental thing there. And anybody who is in the business of being successful, I see where they have this a degenerate type emotional way about them, where they can just do business deals and do it, it don't affect them. That's the throw off, because people who want to rise to the top, no matter what your niche is, some people would do any means necessary. But I have a line I don't cross when it goes to where, hey, I'm gonna affect the livelihood or the freedoms of others. I don't want to do that. I'll stop short there. But going to that, I like to take it up to that line to where, okay, now a certain way, like I won't stab you in the back to get it. I just want to outperform you to get it. But I know what it's like when they stab, but the backstabber don't really mean much, because if you that good to get here, you can thwart efforts here to try to get you, because they are operating at a level that you way past. So even if you try to screw me right here, I already know how to do what it is that you saying I can't. So even by the time you take the next day to go tell on me, I already came and fixed this. So you couldn't get me. So those things didn't bother me, and it's not something that I engage in. If you better than me, I could always say you are. But the only thing I think that people don't know is a quick temper, and it's really a May Baker temper, because she's nasty like that too. It's fast, and then you have to pray about it to calm down. Like now, if I get mad at Crystal, I can stay mad maybe an hour, if that. But I can go back to you and say, hey man, I'm sorry. I actually empathize, where women to me just sympathize. They can say, oh, I feel bad for you, but they can never wear your shoes.
Put yourself in that place.
Yeah. Me, I can do that while I'm sitting around festering, and I can go back and offer apologies almost immediately, because I done thought about it and played chess in my head with it and understood, well, that's how you probably saw it. You know what? This ain't even worth haggling over. Let me go on back and say I'm sorry, and so we can go on and begin the job of forgiveness and keep going, and because it ain't that serious. But I think that's one thing that people don't know is the temperature, the temper, the and the speed and actions of violence can be fast. But I quell that a whole lot from the age 22 to maybe 33.
Right.
But it's still in there. It's kind of like a person that drink or smoke and they can't put it down. I can understand why, but I don't act out on it because that's kind of like being an animal if you do that. But that's the one thing. And then the other thing is that people always see it. I got a big heart, so if you need help, I'm gonna help. That's just the only thing where my position or maybe what I do in life might tell people he probably wouldn't waste time on me to help me with this or that, but I'll do it.
I noticed that a lot when we
Yeah.
went to that party.
Yeah.
You know, last time I was here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody loved you.
Yeah, because I do those things. So to me, I just think that's normal. But maybe it ain't normal. But that's, I look at it, that's normal. People will treat people with dignity and respect. And it's like that. But if I'm with you, I'm with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm a down to earth person. I think that. I don't know why it's like that, but I think it's all of the people that you touch along the way. Because they could look you in the face and tell you you're wrong. You know, I think that's what it was. Because all the adults would say it. I mean, something simple as your mother saying, hey, I just got a call from Miss Violene. She said you rode your bike right past her. She was getting out trying to take groceries in the house and you didn't help her with the groceries. Oh, yeah, I did see. I said, hi. Well, you a man, ain't you? Yes, ma'am. And then you just learn just little things like that, planting seeds. And then you be like, well, hey, yeah, this ain't my business, but I'm right here. Who else gonna do it? I see this old lady, frail, 80 years old, with all these groceries. You know what? I should have did that. You know what? Let me go and ride on up the street. It ain't gonna take that long to say, hey, I'm sorry about that. You know, then you get a talking to by that person. And of course, it's gonna end with something about Jesus and this and that. Okay, roger that.
Yeah.
I'll see you in church on Sunday, but that's it. I think it's a culmination of all the folks that help you. But you sit around and grow up thinking, no, I'm independent. Ain't nobody help me. Everything I got on my own. And that's not real. And so that's why I don't play it like that when somebody else, you know, they opening their heart to you by saying, man, I really want this shot, but it just never seems to work out for me. That's when you hear that and you be like, hey man, what are we trying to do? They tell you, well, shoot, why come you ain't doing it? Well, did you do this? Well, then you ain't really serious about it. This is what you need to be doing. And then, but you just think it's like, hey, I'm just trying to help you. But to them, it's a whole different kind of help.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they seeing it different. They see it as you care. You know what I mean? You really give a flip. And
well, that's the same thing people did for you.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
were like, how is this white dude? How is this guy? And that's all they're doing.
That's what they're doing. And then when they look you in the face and tell you you're going to be a lifer in the military and you just on your first 5-year tour, I'm thinking, man, this dude, he been at sea too long. He crazy. But he wasn't. And you don't notice that after 20 years passed by, you be like, he was right. Yeah, he was right. So that's that on that.
That's it. Cool. Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's my